is the process in which you convert from a solid to a liquid. That could only be done by a natural plant. But since an okra is artificial, so are tomatoes and cucumbers and broccoli, what I'm going to do, knowing that they have the ability to absorb water, to digest water, then I'm going to boil the natural plants, which are electrical, and feed them that and electrify that plant.
So what are natural plants? What are natural vegetables?
All natural vegetables are those that you find in the forest. I know some from Africa, the cancansa, the marula, the judia, the popa, the sia. In Honduras, I know the guaco, the contrivo, the hombre grande, the sarsaparilla, and many more. So I know plants from all over the world because I travel. So what I'm going to do is boil them, remove the energy, which is electrical, and feed that to their natural plants because they do have the ability to suck up moisture, and there you electrify the plant. I've done it already.
Say electrical, how does that come in with our understanding? Are we electrical people? If I want to change, and many people out here want to change how they're living against nature and become in balance with nature, what would we do?
Electric food. You ask if we are electrical. If we were not electrical, if we weren't electrical, we would not be able to move. Just by the movement of our heart, the palpitation of the heart, which is 6,000 pounds per square inch pressure, is pushing again. What moves the heart? There could be no movement unless that movement is electrical. So the food should be electrical, which is nutrition. Food we all eat. You know what is food? McDonald's, some Cheerios, that's food. And some rice and beans, that's food. But nutrition is electrical, and there's a difference.
So what is a whole food? What would you say a food that includes all the minerals that we need in one?
Everything that is natural.
Something.
Okay, right now, we eat quinoa as a grain, teff as a grain, amaranth as a grain, also the other one which is the spelt as a grain. These are grains. The African have a grain that is natural and a very good one. The Dogons used to eat it. A Frenchman wrote about it. Fonio. Fonio is good. Fonio is natural, not starch.
What does fonio look like?
Fonio is a small little grain that looks like quinoa. We had some with the president of Guinea.
Is it white?
Is it white? The secretary to the president,
It's white, the grain?
It's white. Okay. And it's very good. So now, that's the grain, because we like grains, right? We like to feel full.
And then the vegetables.
And the vegetable now, you could eat any of the leafy green vegetables. They aren't going to nourish you. The only one going to nourish you that is green is lamb's quarters and dandelion. The Texas mustard and the colored greens and all that stuff doesn't have any nourishment because they were all made. Now, you could eat them. They would not offer as much injury to you as would do garlic or anything like potatoes, which is starch. In the meat part, you could select from the mushrooms. You could eat portobello mushrooms. You could also eat the oyster mushrooms. And you could eat the chow as meat.
But excuse me, don't they say mushrooms is a fungus?
Well, that's what they say. A fungus is something that eats away on you and on things. Mushroom does not eat away on anything. Mushrooms are the product of the mycelium network. They come to the earth and they are very alkaline. The lowest standard of the pH scale is acid, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. And the lower you go on the scale, the more acid the substance. Garlic is 3.3. Cow milk is 6. At least cow milk is not as bad as garlic. And everybody thinks that garlic is a cure for the body. Now, if you go above 7, 8, 9, 10 to 14, that's alkali. Now we are talking about...
What things are we talking about when we say alkali?
Alkali means electric food. Anything that is alkali is non-starch. It's electrical. What is occurring in Africa today is this, and I spent over 25 years in looking at Africa, visiting Africa, studying what the conditions are, and I see that the one thing that stands out, not only with the African, but primarily the African doesn't know the food of his fathers. It is said, and we have read and heard, honor thy mother and thy father, that thy days may be long upon the land. Well, when we listen to that, this Mexican told me those words are true, but the elephant doesn't need to be told that, because he followed his mother and see what she eat. But an African, or the black race today, the black race in general, we don't know what our mothers and fathers ate in the forests of Africa. We don't even have the slightest clue. But what I did know, and what I know now, is that the African didn't eat rice, they didn't eat beans, they didn't eat any yams or cassava. These things were not consumed by the African. They didn't have hogs, they didn't have chickens, they didn't have goats, lambs, or cows. The food that we find the African eating today, not only it is deteriorating his body to a very accelerated rate, but his brain power is completely gone. So why? Because the food that the Africans are eating today, opposed to the food that he was eating hundreds of years ago, the difference is the food of 500 years prior were all alkaline. It was the food that God made. The African only ate what God made. But when the religions came to Africa, such as the Muslims and the Christians, they brought their goods. But their goods was blood and starch. So now the Africans, whether you are a Muslim or whether you are a Christian, you are eating blood and starch without even knowing the detrimental of consuming, or the detriment of consuming these things. There is such thing as food gene consistency, but the black man of America doesn't know these things, nor the black man of the world. So when I presented my argument that whatever we're being fed through the American Medical Association or any other association is directly in opposition to our cellular predisposition. The FDA cannot, under any circumstances, be the director or the controller of the diet of black people, because the FDA has no idea as to the food that is consistent with us. That was the question that brought the court to my attention. When the FDA made the statement that I should not sell my products, the judge asked me, what is your response? I said, well, the FDA is 100% right, providing they know the food that is consistent with our cellular predisposition. The judge said, what is that? I said, if I break it down, it means this. When you remove the black man from Africa, did you bring his food with him? They said, no. I said, thank you very much. Meaning that the white race is in direct violation of the genetic structure of the black race. Yet we believe that by reading 1 million books and having 1,000 degrees, that everything is A-okay. No, it's not. Because the one thing that we should have known and maintained was the substance that kept our family, our ancestors in Africa, as healthy as they was found. We are not that healthy today. We have lost the connection with Africa. We don't know how to get back home. And I'm not talking about on a ship. We're talking about psychologically. We're talking about knowing those substances, those things that we're eating, that we would be healthier, because today, black America is sick. Black America is very sick. Dr. Sebi put together the new compound, such as the Chelation 1. The Chelation 1 is designed to enter the body and remove maximum amount of debris from the colon. The other one we put together is the ElectroCell. It's self-identity, self-explanatory. ElectroCell, to electrify the body. Meaning that we have selected from the forest the plants that are highest in electrical impulses, put them together in a tablet form. So as you begin to cleanse with the Chelation one, you're being nourished with the ElectroCell. Simultaneously, we're going to give you another one, which is the E-card. The E-card is to remove fluid from the system. Fluids from your system, unwarranted fluids. At the same time, simultaneously, nourishing the muscles. So, the other one, which makes up the package of intracellular cleansing and rebuilding, is the central nerve system. That is the first system that gives way